Leonard Blackwood stood silently in the hallway late at night watching his wife whisper into her phone planning to steal his company with the man he trusted most. What she did not know was that Leonard was wide awake, standing right behind her, listening to every word and preparing to destroy them both without ever raising his voice. The house was quiet in the way only late-night silence could be. Lights dim, curtains drawn, the city outside barely breathing. Leonard Blackwood stood barefoot on the cold marble floor, his pajama pants wrinkled, his chest tight, his mind sharp. He had woken moments earlier to the sound of his wife's voice, low, careful, different. Not the voice she used with him. He followed the sound slowly, each step measured, each breath controlled. From the edge of the hallway he saw her. Vanessa Blackwood stood near the kitchen island wearing a silk robe, her back turned, her phone pressed to her ear, her free hand gripping the counter. Leonard stayed still. Vanessa whispered. "Yes, I already checked, he is asleep, he never wakes up this late." Leonard felt something cold spread through his chest. She continued, "The board trusts him blindly, but once the documents are filed the voting rights shift." Leonard's jaw tightened. A pause. Then her tone softened, almost intimate. "I trust you," she said. "You have always been smarter than him." Leonard's hands curled into fists. The voice on the other end laughed softly. Leonard recognized it instantly. Ethan Cole, his best friend, his business partner. The man who stood beside him when the company was built from nothing. Vanessa smiled slightly. "We just need to move fast," she whispered. "Once the offshore transfer is complete, he will not even know what hit him." Leonard leaned back against the wall, his heart pounding but his face calm. Memories flooded his mind. Late nights working with Ethan, Vanessa supporting him publicly, smiling beside him at events. All of it suddenly felt rehearsed. Vanessa turned slightly. Leonard stepped deeper into the shadows. She continued. "Once Leonard loses controlling interest, I will file for divorce publicly, I will look like the victim." Ethan's voice lowered, "And I take the company." Vanessa replied, "We both win." Leonard closed his eyes briefly. He did not shout, he did not move. He listened. Vanessa laughed softly. "He trusts you more than anyone," she said. "He will never see it coming." Leonard opened his eyes. He saw everything now. He saw how she avoided questions about finances, how Ethan pushed certain legal changes, how meetings shifted without him noticing. This was not a mistake, this was a plan. Vanessa ended the call, slid her phone into her robe pocket and exhaled. She turned, Leonard stepped forward. Her eyes widened, her mouth opened but no sound came out. Leonard spoke calmly, clear, even. "You should hang up when you finish betraying someone," he said. "It is rude to leave the line open." Vanessa froze. Her face drained of color. "Leonard," she whispered. "How long were you standing there?" Leonard looked at her steadily. "Long enough to hear everything." Silence swallowed the room. Vanessa tried to smile. "You misunderstood," she said quickly. Leonard shook his head slowly, "You explained it very clearly." She stepped toward him. "Leonard, please," she said, "you are tired." Leonard stepped back. "No," he said. "I am awake for the first time." Vanessa's voice trembled. "We can talk," she said. "We can fix this." Leonard looked past her toward the dark window, at the reflection of a man who had built an empire and almost handed it away through trust. He spoke quietly. "You planned this for months," he said, "and you chose tonight." Vanessa swallowed hard. Leonard continued, "You forgot one thing." She looked at him desperately. "I own every move before it happens." Leonard said. He turned away, walking toward his office. Behind him Vanessa whispered his name. Leonard did not stop. The war had already begun. And neither of them knew how badly they were about to lose. Leonard closed the door of his private office softly behind him. The room smelled of leather and quiet power, screens dark, walls lined with awards that suddenly felt meaningless. He did not sit, he stood at the center of the room breathing slowly, letting the shock drain without letting anger take control. Betrayal required patience, not noise. He opened his laptop, entered passwords that only he knew, layers of security built for moments exactly like this. Logs appeared, access histories, time stamps, patterns revealed themselves immediately, late-night entries, unusual routing, permissions altered under the guise of optimization. Ethan Cole's fingerprint was everywhere. Leonard felt the urge to smash something. He did not. He opened a secure channel, typed a single line. Initiate mirror protocol now. Across the city servers shifted silently, permissions duplicated, control duplicated, a shadow system awakened. Leonard was no longer reacting, he was preparing. Behind the office door Vanessa stood frozen in the hallway, her heart hammered, her mind raced through excuses, through lies, through plans collapsing. She whispered. "Leonard, please." No answer. She followed him into the office, stopping just inside the doorway. He did not look up. "You are scaring me," she said. Leonard replied evenly. "Good." She stepped closer. "You think you heard something," she said. "But Ethan and I were just discussing restructuring." Leonard finally turned his chair slowly. His eyes calm, focused. "You said offshore transfer," he said. "You said voting rights shift, you said file for divorce publicly." Vanessa's lips trembled. "You are twisting things." Leonard leaned forward. "You chose words carefully." He said. "I listened carefully." She dropped into the chair across from him, her confidence cracking. "Leonard, we can still be powerful together," she said. Leonard shook his head. "Power without loyalty is theft," he said. Her voice sharpened. "You are not perfect," she snapped. "You ignored me for years, you trusted Ethan more than your own wife." Leonard nodded slowly. "That part is true," he said, "and now I know why you liked it that way." Silence filled the room. Leonard stood, walked past her toward the safe behind a painting. He opened it, removed documents, passports, keys. He placed them neatly on the desk. "Effective immediately," he said. "You no longer have access to company accounts, personal accounts or board communication." Vanessa jumped up. "You cannot do that," she shouted. Leonard met her eyes. "I already did." Her breath hitched. "You will destroy everything," she said. Leonard replied. "No. I am preserving it." Her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. "Ethan." She answered quickly. "Something went wrong," she whispered. Leonard held up a finger. "Put it on speaker." Vanessa froze. Leonard's voice was calm. "Do it." She did. Ethan's voice filled the room. "Did you finish the call?" he asked. Leonard stepped forward. "I did," he said. Silence on the line, then a forced laugh. "Leonard," Ethan said. "You are awake early." Leonard replied. "I never went to sleep." Ethan tried to recover. "Listen, we should talk." Leonard nodded. "We will," he said. "With lawyers, auditors, and a criminal investigator." Vanessa covered her mouth. Ethan's tone hardened. "You are making a mistake." Leonard smiled faintly. "You already made yours." He ended the call. Vanessa collapsed into the chair, her body shaking. "You loved me," she whispered. Leonard answered without cruelty. "I loved who I thought you were." He walked to the door. "Tomorrow morning," he said. "You will leave this house." She looked up terrified. "Where will I go?" Leonard paused. "Anywhere not built on my trust." He left the office. Upstairs Leonard showered, changed, sat on the edge of the bed staring at the wall. Sleep did not come, clarity did. By morning his legal team would know. By noon the board would know. By evening Ethan would understand what it meant to underestimate the man who built everything. Vanessa lay awake on the couch downstairs staring at the ceiling, her phone dark, her future collapsing. Leonard stood at the window watching the city wake, lights turning on, traffic beginning. He whispered to himself. You plan to take my company, my name, my life. Now watch me take back control without lifting my voice. The game had changed and Leonard Blackwood was no longer the husband in the dark. Morning arrived without ceremony. No alarms. No arguments. Just the quiet hum of a house that had shifted ownership in spirit if not yet on paper. Leonard stood in the kitchen drinking black coffee. His face calm. His mind 10 steps ahead. Vanessa came downstairs slowly. Her robe replaced by street clothes. Her confidence replaced by calculation. She stopped when she saw him. Leonard. She said softly. We need to talk. Leonard did not look up. We already did. He replied. She stepped closer. You are reacting emotionally. She said. Ethan is ambitious. Yes. But ambition is not betrayal. Leonard finally turned. Ambition that steals is theft. He said. Her jaw tightened. You will ruin him. She snapped. Leonard nodded. Consequences do that. His phone vibrated. A secure message. Board call confirmed in 30 minutes. Leonard set the phone down. You should pack. He said. Your driver will take you to the apartment on 5th. You will find it furnished. Temporary. Vanessa stared. You prepared this. She whispered. Leonard answered evenly. I prepare for everything. She laughed bitterly. You always did. She said. That is why you forgot how to feel. Leonard took a breath. I did not forget. He said. I trusted. That ended the conversation. At the office Leonard entered a conference room filled with screens. Faces appeared one by one. Board members. Legal counsel. Compliance officers. Leonard spoke first. Last night an internal threat was identified. He said. Access was compromised by a senior partner. Ethan's face appeared on screen. Tense. Smiling thinly. Leonard continued. I have initiated mirror protocol. All permissions duplicated. All transfers paused. Forensic review underway. Murmurs followed. Ethan leaned forward. Leonard. He said. This is an overreaction. Leonard met his eyes. You altered voting structures without disclosure. He said. You coordinated offshore transfers. You conspired to remove controlling interest. Silence fell. Leonard added. All communications were recorded. Ethan's smile collapsed. Legal counsel spoke. We recommend immediate suspension of Mr. Cole pending investigation. Leonard nodded. Do it. Ethan raised his voice. You cannot erase me. He shouted. Leonard replied calmly. You erased yourself. The call ended. Within hours news moved quietly. Not public. Internal. Access badges deactivated. Accounts frozen. Vehicles retrieved. Ethan's office was sealed. Vanessa arrived at the apartment alone. She sat on the edge of the bed staring at her phone. Messages unread. Calls unanswered. She tried calling Ethan. Straight to voicemail. She whispered. We planned this. Back at headquarters Leonard walked the floor. Employees watched. Not fearful. Curious. He stopped at his assistant's desk. Prepare statements. He said. Minimal. Transparent. He entered his office and closed the door. For the first time since the night before, he allowed himself to feel. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Resolve. He thought about the nights Ethan stayed late. The dinners Vanessa hosted. The smiles exchanged. He understood now. Trust had been used as camouflage. Leonard opened a folder labeled Succession. He had written contingency plans years ago. Not because he distrusted, but because he believed preparation was loyalty to the future. Across town Ethan sat in a private room with lawyers. Sweat on his brow. Confidence gone. They know everything. He whispered. Vanessa sat alone staring at a city she once believed she would own. Leonard stood before the board again later that day. This company survives because of discipline. He said. Not because of friendships. We will rebuild trust. We will audit everything. We will proceed quietly. The board agreed. That evening Leonard returned home. The house felt larger. Emptier. But honest. He poured a drink. Stood at the window. He spoke softly. You tried to steal my life in the dark. Now watch me rebuild it in daylight. The days that followed moved with surgical precision. Leonard did not rush. He did not announce. He let systems do what they were designed to do. Auditors arrived quietly. Files opened. Emails traced. Timestamps aligned. Every thread led back to the same two names. Vanessa. Ethan. Leonard watched the process from a distance. Not detached. Disciplined. At the apartment Vanessa paced the living room. Her phone vibrated constantly. Friends asking questions. Contacts pulling away. She rehearsed speeches in her head. Victim. Misunderstood. Lonely. None of them sounded true. She finally reached Ethan late at night. Where are you? She asked. His voice was strained. You should not call me. He said. Everything is collapsing. She whispered. We had a plan. Ethan replied bitterly. We had arrogance. The call ended. Leonard received the first formal report. Clear evidence. Documented intent. Financial manipulation. He signed a single-page authorizing legal escalation. Not revenge. Protection. The company issued a brief internal notice. Ethical breach identified. Leadership action taken. No names. No drama. Markets remained steady. Confidence preserved. Employees noticed something else. Leonard walking halls again. Stopping at desks. Asking real questions. Trust returned slowly. Because fear had never replaced it. Vanessa's lawyer requested a meeting. Leonard agreed. Neutral location. Clear boundaries. She arrived composed. Wearing confidence like armor. Leonard remained seated. Calm. She spoke first. We built this life together. She said. Leonard replied. You built a plan to remove me from it. She leaned forward. You were distant. She said. Ethan listened. Leonard nodded. Listening does not excuse theft. Her eyes filled. I made a mistake. Leonard answered evenly. Mistakes end when confessed. Plans end when exposed. He slid documents across the table. Divorce filing. Asset separation. Non-disclosure agreements. She stared. You are leaving me with nothing. Leonard corrected. I am leaving you with what is yours. She signed slowly. Her hand shaking. Outside reporters waited. Leonard exited through a side door. Weeks later Ethan faced charges. Not publicly dramatic, but final. The company announced restructuring. New leadership. Independent oversight. Leonard spoke once. Quietly. Integrity is not negotiable. At home Leonard cleared personal spaces. Removed photos. Rearranged shelves. He did not erase memories. He archived them. One evening he returned to the hallway where it all began. The place he had stood silently listening. He stood there again. Not angry. Aware. He understood something now. Betrayal does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers. And the only defense is attention. He turned off the light. Closed the door. The final phase did not arrive with sirens or headlines. It arrived with quiet confirmations. Signed documents. Closed accounts. Locked doors. Leonard woke early every morning. Not because he had to. But because discipline had always been his anchor. He ran the same route through the neighborhood. Breathing steady. Thoughts clear. He learned that grief for a marriage felt different than grief for a dream. One hurt. The other educated. At headquarters the culture shifted again. Not dramatically. But permanently. Policies became habits. Transparency became expectation. Loyalty became earned. Leonard met with teams not to command, but to listen. When someone asked how he stayed calm, he answered. Calm is what remains when panic finds no permission. Vanessa watched the news quietly from her apartment. No name mentioned. No face shown. Just outcomes. She realized too late that invisibility was the harshest consequence. Not scandal. Not judgment. Silence. Ethan accepted a plea. Not because he wanted to, but because evidence had no patience. Leonard did not attend court. He did not need closure from a room. He found it in completion. Months passed. The company announced record stability. Not growth driven by risk, but by trust restored. Leonard visited the foundation he quietly funded. Education programs. Ethics training. Leadership development. He never put his name on buildings. He believed names invited ego. Results invited respect. One evening Leonard hosted a small dinner. Not extravagant. Not symbolic. Friends. Colleagues. People who had stayed when nothing was promised. Laughter returned to his home. Not loud, but honest. Later that night Leonard stood at the window watching city lights. He remembered standing in the hallway months earlier. Listening. Learning. He spoke softly to the empty room. You showed me who you were. And I believed you. He did not mean Vanessa. He meant himself. He learned that trust without awareness is vulnerability. But awareness without bitterness is power. Leonard dated again slowly. Carefully. Not because he feared betrayal, but because he respected truth. When asked about his past he said little. Not hiding. Not ashamed. Just finished. Vanessa moved cities. Started again. Learned what ambition felt like without shortcuts. She understood now that intelligence without integrity collapses inward. Leonard stood before the board one final time that year. Annual review complete. A director asked. What saved the company? Leonard answered. Attention. He left the room. Lights dimmed. Systems humming. He returned home. Turned off the hallway light. The place where betrayal began. Now held nothing but quiet. Leonard smiled faintly. He had not destroyed anyone. He had simply stopped protecting lies. And in doing so, He protected everything that mattered.